Good morning. Welcome to the Way of the Cross. I can't remember which part this is, but and I've just had a low battery warning, so you may get the low battery noise coming, but let's have a go. And I have got quite a long reading, but I just knew I had to do a parable at one point this week. And so this is the sheep and the goats. When he finally arrives, blazing in beauty, and all his angels with him, the Son of Man will take his place on his glorious throne. Then all the nations will be arranged before him, and he will sort the people out, much as a shepherd sorts out sheep and goats, putting the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Enter you who are blessed by my Father. Take what's coming to you in this kingdom. It's been ready for you since the world's foundation. And here's why. I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was homeless and you gave me a room. I was shivering and you gave me clothes. I was sick and you stopped to visit. I was in prison and you came to me." Then those sheep are going to say, "Master, what are you talking about? When did we ever see you hungry and feed you, thirsty and give you a drink? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and come to you?" Then the king will say, "I'm telling you the solemn truth. Whenever you did one of these things to someone overlooked or ignored, that was me. You did it to me." Then he will turn to the goats, the ones on his left, and say, "Get out, worthless goats. You are good for nothing but the fires of hell." And why? Because I was hungry and you gave me no meal. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was homeless and you gave me no bed. I was shivering and you gave me no clothes. Sick and in prison and you never visited me. Then these goats are going to say, "Master, what are you talking about? When did we ever see you hungry or thirsty, or homeless or shivering or sick or in prison and didn't help?" And he will answer them, "I'm telling you the solemn truth. Whenever you fail to do one of these to someone who was being overlooked and ignored, that was me. You failed to do it to me." Then those goats will be herded to their eternal doom, but the sheep to their eternal reward. Let us wait on the Lord, for in his word is our hope. And that's the message again, which is glorious. I just love the language there. But a few things to say. Remember, this is the nations. This is the nations, everybody standing before Jesus. And all of us will be judged by the way we have treated other people. And I love that phrase, particularly those who are overlooked and ignored. Jesus gave himself to those who are overlooked and ignored, and he wants us to do the same. Tricky bits. You're good for nothing but the fires of hell. Yeah, Matthew loves dramatic language. But actually, the word is Gehenna, which was the Jerusalem rubbish dump, which sort of burned rubbish. So I don't think Jesus is imagining eternal torment. He's saying you're fit for the rubbish dump if you're not doing the good stuff. I think that's probably enough for the sheep and for the passage. Yep. It follows on from yesterday. Loving God, loving neighbour. Faith needs to be lived out by caring for others. That is how faith is cashed out. For those who sort of know they have faith, and for those who don't know they have faith. It's cashed out in caring for others. But it's not about arriving. The sheep, the good guys are not saying, he's not saying, yes, you've arrived, you've got to your destination. You have reached your destination. I think Jesus is saying you were going in the right direction. And that's really important, because so much, it comes back to ego. Oh, I've arrived in the Christian life. I'm doing wonderfully in the Christian life, or helping others, or whatever it is. No. You're on a journey. We're on a journey with Jesus. We're on a journey suffering with Jesus, sharing his pain, his torment as the cross loomed ever nearer day by day. It's a journey. It's about going in the right direction. And if your direction is about reaching out to the hungry, the thirsty, the homeless, the shivering, the sick, and the prisoners, and no, it's not just those. It's that sort of situation, then you're going in the right direction. And you might say, well, what about, faith and all that? Well, it's about God's help, because we can't do this stuff on our own. We need God's help with it. It is, yes, discovering God's help in this journey towards reaching out in love. And final thought, not in the big stuff. Oh, I'm a hero, I visited people in prison. Well, you might have done, and that may be your bag, and I have a friend who does do that, and that's great. It's often the little stuff. It's just being there, being open, de-escalating the tension, which connects with today's coping with COVID. Just finding ways of de-escalating the tension rather than escalating the tension. It's those little things that are important. I think I'm disappearing into the shadows. It's time for me to stop, but thank you for your company this week. Amen.